Buescher on the left, Hocevar on the right, SVG on the inside, alongside Ross Chastain. Here we go. Do we finish it off? Van Gisbergen tries to unsettle Buescher, puts it on the inside, gets on the gas. It's Van Gisbergen and Buescher side by side to you, Mike.
Wheel to wheel for the lead, coming to the S's, and it's SVG. He'll power past Buescher and go to the lead. Buescher now to second.
NASCAR took Buescher's number, 17 Ford Mustang, back to their Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina, after his 8th place finish at Kansas. This wasn't specifically targeting Buescher. His car and Carson Hocevar's number, 77, were randomly selected for detailed post-race inspection. While Hocevar's car passed with flying colors, Buescher's team wasn't so lucky. Officials found that Buescher's car violated sections 14.1c and 14.5.4g of the NASCAR rulebook. Now, what does that actually mean? The team exceeded the maximum reinforcement allowed for the front bumper cover. NASCAR allows teams to strengthen the front fascia on the inner surface, but there are strict limits to how much reinforcement you can add. According to NASCAR Cup Series Managing Director Brad Moran, who spoke on the Hauler Talk podcast, unfortunately, the number 17 did not meet the rule and had a larger area than what is permitted to be bonded into the nose piece. They can work in that area, but they went too far would be the simplest terms of putting it. The specific rule states that the front fascia may be strengthened on the inner surface with bonded on non-metallic materials in the area contacting the bumper foam and up to 2 inches further in all directions. Buescher's team went beyond that 2-inch limit, which triggered the violation. Moran provided some additional context on why this rule exists. He said, "As the car was being developed, we recognized we were doing damage to the nose of the car and didn't want to be using up good parts on repairs. We put out communications that were very clear and specific that teams could strengthen behind the foam, which is where there was cracking and damage during the races. It was an area around the foam that you're allowed 2 inches, and it was beyond that, which is a rule violation. When NASCAR decides to penalize a team, they can go light or heavy-handed. In this case, they went with the latter. The penalties assessed to Buescher and the number. 17 team are severe. 60 driver championship points deducted. 60 owner championship points deducted. 5 playoff points deducted from both driver and owner. $75,000 fine for the team. Crew chief Scott Graves suspended for 2 races. This isn't just a slap on the wrist. This is the kind of penalty that can derail an entire season. The crew chief suspension means Graves will miss this weekend's All-Star race at North Wilkesboro and next weekend's Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Doug Randolph, a veteran crew chief who joined RFK Racing earlier this year, will replace Graves during the suspension. This is where things get really painful for Buescher and his fans. Before the penalty, Buescher was sitting 12th in the standings and in a solid playoff position. He was 33 points above the cut line, looking relatively comfortable as the season approached its midpoint, but the 60-point deduction has sent him plummeting through the standings. Depending on which report you read, he's now either 24th or 28th in the points. Either way, it's a massive drop. He's gone from 33 points above the cut line to 27 points below it. He's now a whopping 226 points behind points leader William Byron. What's particularly interesting is the impact this has on the playoff bubble. Ryan Preece, Buescher's RFK Racing teammate, actually moves up into the provisional 16th and final playoff position as a result of this penalty, going from 7 points below the cut line to 14 points above it. Meanwhile, Kyle Busch becomes the first driver on the outside looking in. Following the announcement, RFK Racing released a brief statement. "We remain committed to full compliance with NASCAR's rules. At this time, we're carefully reviewing the details of the situation to determine if we will file an appeal. They have until 5 p.m. Eastern on Monday to decide whether to appeal the penalty. That's just 2 business days after being notified, so they'll need to make a decision quickly. No word yet on whether they plan to fight this or simply accept the penalties and move forward. This penalty is especially tough for Buescher because he's been having a solid, if unspectacular, season. Through 13 races this year, he's scored 6 top 10 finishes, but only 1 top 5, a 5th place showing at Phoenix on March 9th. He's been running consistently in that 10th to 12th range in the points all season, very similar to his performance last year. He's been the best performing driver at RFK Racing this season, which makes this penalty even more significant for the organization as a whole. Buescher has 6 career Cup Series wins to his name, with the most recent coming at Watkins Glen last September. He's proven he can win races, but now he'll likely need to do exactly that to salvage his playoff hopes. The penalty to Buescher is just the latest blow in what has been a horrific season for RFK Racing. It seems like nothing can go right for this team in 2024. Ryan Preece looked like he was going to have a career day at Talladega when he finished second, nearly winning his first Cup Series race, but then his car failed post-race inspection for a spoiler violation, and he was disqualified and moved to the back of the field. That cost him a ton of points, though, as mentioned earlier, he's now back inside the provisional playoff field thanks to Buescher's misfortune. The following week at Texas, all 3 RFK cars had issues. 2 of them crashed, and the third one had top 5 pace, but blew a tire. Then they go to Kansas, the scene where Buescher previously lost in the closest finish in Cup Series history, and now this penalty hits. Team co-owner Brad Keselowski is having perhaps the worst year of all. He's currently 32nd in the point standings and has failed to score even a single top 10 finish this season. Among full-time drivers, he's only ahead of Riley Herbst, Cole Custer, Shane Van Gisbergen, and Cody Ware. That's not the kind of company a former champion like Keselowski is used to keeping. With 14 races left in the regular season, is Buescher now facing a must-win situation to make the playoffs? It's not quite that dire yet, but it's getting close. Being 27 points below the cut line isn't an insurmountable deficit. That's less than a race worth of points, so it's definitely possible to make that up over the course of 14 races. But it's a significant hole to dig out of, especially when you consider that Buescher was running consistently but not showing race-winning speed before the penalty. His 6 top 10 finishes is tied for 5th most in the series, matching drivers like Ryan Blaney, Denny Hamlin, and Chase Elliott. His 15.5 average finish ranks 9th best in the Cup Series. Those are solid stats, but there's a big difference between maximizing a car's potential and having a winning ride. Of those 6 top 10s, only 1 is a top 5 finish, and Buescher has led just 2 laps total this season. He could win his way into the playoffs, but the stats suggest he had a better chance on points before the penalty hit. Looking back to last season, this penalty could prove critical for Buescher's playoff hopes. Last year, he narrowly missed the playoffs when Chase Briscoe won the final regular season race at Darlington. Buescher only missed the cut by about 15 points then, which means this 60-point penalty could easily be the difference between making and missing the playoffs this year.